Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Hogarth's Global Astrology. Know your planets, know yourself, or know your nation, know yourself. The two are interchangeable. And today we're going to be talking about the nodes of the moon. Let me just move my camera here a little bit more to the center. We're going to be talking about the nodes of the moon, which are Rahu and Ketu. And in Vedic astrology, basically, in Western tropical, the nodes are considered to be in the signs of Aries and Libra. But because of a funny quirk where the nodes of the moon are always going retrograde, always going backwards, but Western tropical astrology is 24 degrees ahead, approximately 24 degrees ahead of the astronomical zodiac placements. It means the nodes of the moon are actually behind 24 degrees, almost 24 degrees behind their true placements when going retrograde. So I know that sounds a bit confusing, but at the moment, Rahu and Ketu at the last stages of Pisces and Virgo, and they will be moving very soon at the end of the week, actually in just a few days, actually around the 29th/30th of May 2025. They will be moving into sidereal Aquarius and sidereal Leo. Yep, so I want to show you what that means. So if you look here and you would have seen this before, Hogarth's eclipse calculator. At the moment, now remember the nodes of the moon, if I just show you here, they always move retrograde. So a few years ago, they were in Aries, and then they kept going retrograde. Then they moved into Pisces, Pisces and Virgo, and now they've kept on going retrograde, and now they're at the final degrees, and then literally in a few days, they are going to change sign. Yeah, so Rahu, the north node of the moon, is going to move into sidereal Aquarius, which is his sign of co-rulership, along with Saturn and along with Uranus, the modern ruler. And then Ketu, the south node of the moon, is going to move into sidereal Leo. So what does that mean? I'm going to give a little overview of what that potentially could mean for you, for all of us on planet Earth. And then I'll go through the signs and which houses it will be happening in, so you can see which areas of life are most likely to be affected. And this is my first video in a few days, because as you guys know, I've been in Ibiza, setting up, planning for retreats, their astrology retreats, Neo-Vedic astrology retreats that I'll be teaching in November 2025. And I've just come back from a music festival today as well in Brockwell Park. So I'm filming this pretty late. So many of you might be catching this tomorrow if you don't see it today. Right, so nodes of the moon, Rahu and Ketu, in this axis here, Aquarius, Leo. I've also kept this up here. This is the stellium that happened on the 29th of March 2025. And you'll see here, Saturn is currently moving through sidereal Pisces. This stellium has broken up a little bit, but it's still basically mainly there. And this is the reality check that I've been talking about, that everyone has been receiving. Saturn spends 2.5 years in each sign. So we're going to have 2.5 years of reality checks of all kinds on planet Earth, especially in regards to the shadow of Pisces, which can deal with illusions and delusions, fantasies that are not real. Now those fantasies or those ideals that we thought would pan out, Saturn is given a strong dose of reality to all those things, which of course all of you who are watching this channel, all of us have seen all around the world. Now those reality checks, it doesn't mean it's all bad. It depends how we're harnessing that energy. Reality checks can actually be very good if we are aligned with reality. If we've aligned ourselves with reality, we've made plans based on realistic outcomes and probabilities, then the reality check can actually be very, very manifesting. However, those that have been taken in by illusions or delusions or fantasies or believed things that were not true, Saturn, the planet of truth, is basically breaking down and effectively destroying those illusions. This isn't really going to be a political video. I want it to be about the nodes of the moon, but you know, it doesn't take much joining of the dots to realize how that is manifesting is in the real world, isn't it? And not just in America, for the whole world. Everything is shifting. And one of the things I say is when Saturn changed signs, everything changed signs, but also, I mean, everything changes, but also when the nodes of the moon change. So we are moving from a different energy of this Rahu and Ketu in this Pisces Virgo axis, which deals with Virgo deals with health and healing and overcoming obstacles, and Pisces also deals with healing as well, but also deals with fantasies, deals with illusions, but also deals with music and spirituality. Now the nodes are moving here. Yeah. So Rahu can talk about the direction in life that we're supposed to go in, what we're going to be potentially getting more of. Ketu talks about things from the past or things that we may have to excrete or remove from our life or have minimized, or where we need some kind of spiritual growth and development. So Rahu is moving into his sign of co-rulership, which is, and according to Vedic astrology, Rahu, the north node of the moon, is actually one of the ancient co-rulers of Aquarius. Aquarius is a very eccentric sign. It is an unusual sign. It deals with mavericks. It deals with visionaries. It deals with technology. It deals with AI. It deals with all of the sciences. It also deals with astrology as well, crystals, energy, healing work. It deals with wisdom and knowledge. It is an Aquarius is an air sign. It is an intellectual sign. It deals with commerce, business. So Rahu, which loves business and making money and stuff like that, but it shows the emphasis in humanity is going to be looking more at the collective. We're going to see further developments in AI, of course. As you guys know, I predicted back in, I think it was in November 2022, when I said Saturn that was going to change signs in November 2023. No, in January of 2023, I said all things to do with tech, AI, and stuff like that will take a leap forward. We've seen that. Now Rahu coming back the other way, Saturn has passed and they now have crossed over each other. Rahu will give technology and AI another boost again. But this is also going to be talking about humanity and people wanting to fight for their rights. Rahu deals with extremes, yeah, deals with extremes, can deal with extreme addictions, can deal with theft, robbery, poison even. Rahu can deal with thieves and scoundrels, yeah, so that aspect of life on Earth could be amplified. However, it also shows as well that there's likely to be more rebellion and pushback in the world against those that are against the powerful trying to control the masses. As Saturn's reality check, remember here, Saturn, remember the planets go, you know, effectively they go clockwise on a chart like this. The nodes of the moon go anti-clockwise. Saturn is here doing all of this, you know, popping the balloon. Let me just move this here. Popping the illusions and delusions of Pisces, popping that, yeah, with his reality. That was the big stellium that happened on March 29th, but now that is dissipating and the nodes of the moon are moving, changing, showing that change of emphasis. What is Leo? Yeah, and with K2 through Leo. Leo deals with what? Leadership of all kinds. Leadership, how we show up in the world. It is a sign that is famous for performing. It's associated with performance. It is associated with standing on the world stage, with being seen. Leo is the way that we have to potentially shine on the world stage. Leo also does have a very shy side to it, actually, believe it or not. There can be a lot of potential insecurity within Leo. But essentially, we are having Ketu come here into this, a very introverted planet, come into an extroverted sign. So what does that mean? So really what this is talking about inner leadership, in a way, inner leadership. This is about being more humble. This is about leaders, maybe being international leaders in particular, but leaders in general being brought down to size. Yeah. K2 is a very modest, minimizing planet. It's not an extrovert planet. It is extreme like Rahu, but it deals with Rahu is a more extroverted energy. Ketu is a more introverted energy. So what this will show is that basically those on the world stage, particularly leaders, if they continue to show inauthenticity, because Ketu is very authentic. So when he's transiting through Leo, which he'll be doing for the next 18 months, as will Rahu through the sign of Aquarius, it means people on the world stage, global leaders, could become humbled in some kind of way. It could be maybe they lose some elections, particularly with Rahu going through Aquarius, you know, kind of stoking the fires of rebellion, of wanting to work for the collective. So this could be where we're seeing expansion in the signs of Aquarius, where humanity as a whole is going to be wanting to make gains. They're sick and tired of being held back. They're sick and tired of not being able to afford things, of their futures basically being taken and stolen from them by more mature generations that don't want to share, don't want to give. I mean, look at this crop of leaders that we have, very, very mature now, and they don't want to move. They don't want to move aside. They don't want to let the younger generations come through. No one can afford property. No one can afford, you know, the basics in life anymore. Rahu is just going to exaggerate that all the more. So we're going to see more extremes in terms of wealth inequality, but that is also going to galvanize the people. Simultaneously, Ketu going through the sign of Leo, it means that leaders in the future, it doesn't mean we won't have any leaders in the future, we will, but those that show integrity, spirituality, bringing something ancient to the world. Yeah. Ketu deals with things that are in the past. And in fact, the Magha Nakshatra, which Ketu rules, which sits in sidereal Leo, goes from 0 degrees to 13 degrees 20 minutes of sidereal Leo. This is a nakshatra that belongs to Ketu and is most to do with the ancestors and stuff like that. So we might see, you know, again, leaders, global leaders humbled, or leaders that are kind of humble in a way, or trying to do something for the collective, which is the opposite sign, Aquarius, where Rahu is. They are going to do very well in the next 18 months. So this is spiritual leaders, spiritual gurus, people teaching ancient things, knowledge, people that are protecting others. Leo means to manage a kingdom as well, to delegate. But Ketu is that introverted energy. So this is about reorganizing our internal kingdoms, asking ourselves what our priorities are. You know, is it going to pay really to be so ostentatious or flashy, or to be selfish, for example? K2 doesn't really reward selfishness. You know, Rahu, you know, deals with, you know, lies and cheats. He's more inclined to reward things like that, but K2 doesn't. K2 is more inclined to reward modesty, integrity, doing things for the right reasons. So we're in this time frame now over the next 18 months where we might see a lot of reversal of fortunes. We may also see reversals of fortunes for people in the tech industry as well, because Aquarius also deals with tech. We've been seeing also as well with recent tariffs against Apple, 25% tariffs if they produce their phones in India, which were previously moved from production in China. Many of you will know that. So technology companies could be seeing some challenges as well, but there could be also some extreme expanses in technology and crypto, particularly with that energy of Rahu. But I think this is going to be about a lot of, I think if CEOs going forward or leaders in general, people that hold high office or have a lot of influence, if they're being seen to not be acting with integrity, not acting in ways that helps humanity, yeah, Aquarius is humanity, the collective, then they may find that their brands are further tarnished, or they could even incur much heavier losses, because Ketu does deal with losses. He's very spiritual, but one of the ways he spiritualizes us is by separating us from things, usually our cash, usually our money. Think of all of these boycotts and blackouts that are going on right now. Think of the boycotts and blackouts against Target and against Tesla. How the collective is coming together. I think these things are going to build more momentum as people see that they're effective, but also as well as people can, as the cost of living continues to get more and more difficult, particularly in the United States, how many people will be able to afford the basics anymore anyway? So they'll be cutting back there, which of course is going to affect these very, very wealthy CEOs. So you see, that is sort of like I'm seeing that kind of tension with this transit, where the collective is basically trying to redress the balance with the leaders. So let's see how that plays out over the next 18 months. Okay, so I'm just over a quarter of an hour in. Let's talk about how this will be appearing for you, depending on your ascendant, yeah, your rising sign. But it can also be your moon sign as well. But this is in Vedic. Remember this, Vedic sidereal astrology. You can go on something like AstroSeek or free Vedic chart calculator and all of that kind of stuff to look this stuff up. All right, so if we start here with Aries, as is appropriate with these things. So if you are Aries, because it's the first sign, if you are Aries rising, remember the nodes are moving backwards. So it means for all of Aries in the previous transit, they've been dealing with lots of kind of losses or recalibration of things, retirement, you know, things like that. But now the nodes of the moon are moving into their 11th house. Yeah, 11th house. So we go here 1, 12, 11. And what does the 11th house deal with? The 11th house deals with great gains. It deals with elder siblings. It deals with larger animals. It deals with your social network. Yeah, social network. It deals with your influential friends. So for Aries rising in particular, this could be a time when, you know, they might be getting in touch with old friends or making new friends, important financial connections, new developments. They could also be engaging, you know, a bit with technology as well. Yeah, friends that are involved in the technology industry, that kind of thing. They might be getting involved in humanitarian work, pardon me, or more community-based work. Yeah. Community-based work. This is also deals with aviation and flying and tech, you know, so maybe they're using AI tools, for example, or they explore more things to do with crypto, stuff like that. The south node of the moon will be in Leo, which for Aries, if this is the 11th, then this will be the 5th house. Leo is the 5th sign. Oops, move this bit here. So that could be changes as well for the children. Yeah, fifth house deals with children, giving consultation and advice to others. So there may be some challenges for children where they may have some losses, or maybe the children actually are leaving the home and going off to college. It could be that kind of thing. Or the children go to one of the children goes to a spiritual retreat or an ashram or something like that. Or a child might be feeling a certain type of restriction or an opportunity they may feel as kind of ebbed away. But this could also be as well where the children start to kind of listen more to their internal voice, or they decide, you know what, I'm not really going for money. I'm actually going to go on travel. I'm going to go on pilgrimage. This could also be true of the person because not everyone has kids. So the fifth house deals with what we do for the love of it. So again, this can talk about taking up meditation, spiritual practices, that kind of thing. So that's for Aries. Yeah. For Taurus rising, we count backwards. Yeah. So if we go here, so sorry, Taurus is here. So Taurus 12, 11, 10. Yeah. 10. So Taurus rising, Rahu is going into their 10th house. Now, this is actually pretty good, actually. Rahu likes being in the 10th house. So this could see expansions and opportunities in the career. But in particularly, this means as well that careers could be coming, or career opportunities could be coming from friends, because or the community in some kind of way, or career opportunities that are happening by potentially helping others. Yeah, because the 10th house deals with career. Aquarius deals with community. This could also talk about careers being influenced by technology. Hopefully not replacing one's career, as is happening with a lot of people. Hopefully potentially enhancing, but both could be true. Yeah, both could be true. It means then that the Ketu will be in the 4th house. Yeah, the 4th house is also always opposite the 10th. So for Taurus rising, Ketu will be in the 4th house. So there is an element of kind of sort of shrinkage there, or being away from home a lot, because the 4th house does deal with real estate, with one's home. And of course, if things are developing from the career, one could be traveling a lot. So you're not spending as much time at home, or there could even be a leak in the home, like water leak, hopefully not gas leak, but K2 can also talk about like water leaks, or something has to be done with the plumbing, for example. The positive manifestation of this is literally meditating at home, making one's home space more spiritual. But it can also as well talk about potentially moving from a home, because maybe there's something wrong with it, or you just feel it is time to move. So the career is likely to get a boost for Taurus rising people, and they'll be spending less time at home, which can have its own problems. But the positive of that is, meditating from home, making your home space more spiritual. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So if you are a Gemini, so this is Gemini rising or moon. So if we count backwards, 12, 11, 10, 9. Yeah. So for Gemini rising or Gemini moon, is that right? Yes, it is. Yeah. You're going to be having Rahu in your 9th house. Yeah, in your 9th house. Now, the 9th house is known as a house of Dharma. It's known as a house of luck. It's a Trikona house. So the Trikona houses are 9, 5, and 1. But the first house is also an angular house. It's an angle and a trine. But Trikona houses deal with Dharma, good luck, fortune. And of course, Rahu is going to be in Aquarius, which also deals with communities. So that means for the Gemini rising or Gemini moon people, things connected with learning, teaching, community, travel, languages, yeah, philosophies, beliefs. This could be a great time to find a new guru, or maybe you become the guru yourself. Yeah, you'd be doing a lot of teaching. So the Geminis, Rahu is going to bring them lots of opportunities to teach, to educate, potentially to travel as well, assuming that one can afford it. But it's giving those options there, always giving something exotic. This is, I would say, really quite a positive transit, because this is Rahu in its own sign of co-rulership, going through an auspicious house. So for Gemini rising and Gemini moon people, this really could be quite an auspicious time. Yeah, many opportunities, luck, good fortune, but Rahu also brings eccentric and unusual characters to play as well. So we need to remember that. But of course, if Rahu is in the ninth, that means Ketu is going to be in the third. And the third house deals with communications. I also refer to the 3-9 axis as the axis of travel, teaching, and preaching. So Ketu is bringing some kind of scrutiny there to the third house. Third house can deal with friends, but it can also deal with commutes. So there could be an aspect of where you might be seeing your friends a little bit less, because you're traveling a bit more. But it can also, Ketu also talks about depth of things. So this could be a time when your friendships are deepened. Third house also deals with education, along with the ninth. So this 3-9 axis activation by the nodes of the moon could really show that the Gemini rising people and the Gemini moon people really are going to be teaching a lot, learning new skills, or doing things with in-depth knowledge, because K2 also can deal with the experts as well. He's very geeky. He wants to get to the bottom of things. So when he's going through the third house, which also deals with education and teaching, that can be really about really going deep, really fine-tuning a point of that you wish to educate others on. It could be tricky for the siblings, though. The third house also deals with siblings. So maybe they might experience maybe a little bit of a loss in some kind, maybe a financial or physical, or maybe it's just the case you're traveling so much, or you're so busy learning new stuff, you're not quite as in touch with your siblings as you normally would be, assuming that you have them. But I would say for the Gemini rising and Gemini moon people, this is really quite an auspicious transit to have, because it's going through the ninth house. Okay, let's move on to the next. Let's look at the sign of Cancer. Yeah, so if you are a Cancerian, let's count backwards from here. So we do 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. So the Cancer risings, Cancerian risings, Cancerian moon, but particularly Cancer rising, this is going to be a very, very dynamic time. Very dynamic. Rahu is the co-ruler of Aquarius, and he's going to be going through the 8th house, which I refer, as many of you know, I refer to as the house of sex, death, and rock and roll. So this is going to be quite dramatic change, yeah, for the Cancer ascendants. But it's more likely to be a positive change, because Rahu's in his own sign. So this is actually really quite auspicious for everyone, yeah. Ketu also has a nakshatra that it rules in Leo as well. But that Aquarian aspect is quite auspicious. So this can 8th house also deals with other people's monies. So if Cancerians are looking to raise funds, for example, or they're looking to maybe kind of take some profits from crypto they may have, for example, because Rahu deals with crypto, Aquarius deals with crypto as well. So when you get those two factors together, you know, that is emphasized all the more. It also means as well, you know, there'll be transformations. You know, many Cancerians could be going in quite a dramatic different direction. Career changes, changes in the life, of course, even potential changes with the partner as well, because the 8th house also can deal with our relationships too. I mean, 7th house is the classic, but 8th house is the intimacy of a relationship. So I mean, it could spice things up, to be honest. Yeah. Rahu in the 8th house, which can be quite a sexy house, and Rahu is very experimental. So that could really, some people might see an uptick in their love lives. For example, if you've been single for a while, Cancerians, if you've been single for a while, you know, you never know. You could have some passion, yeah, in your life. But this is a very dynamic energy, but don't be afraid of it. Lean into it, embrace new things, embrace the exotic, embrace the unexpected. And Rahu is likely to bless you with extraordinary opportunities that you may never have thought of before. So, of course, if Rahu is in the 2nd house, that means Ketu is going to be in the 2nd. If Rahu's in the 8th, Ketu will be in the 2nd. So the 2nd also deals with the face, neck, the teeth. It also has a lot to do with speech, singing, and asset classes of all kinds. K2 can potentially have a shrinking effort on there. However, this is more about being, again, this is talking about authenticity in leadership. So any Cancerians that find themselves in a position of leadership or having to guide others, it must be done with integrity. Yeah, must be done with integrity. This is the sense of where the values have to align. Ketu doesn't really care about money, so when he's going through a house associated with money, sometimes some people can experience that as losses, but or more, it's kind of like they want, if they're going to be paid, they want it to be more in alignment with their values. Yeah, do you see? It can be more like that. This could be where people in the spiritual community could actually potentially see that earnings go up. Yeah, but if they're providing something of value, of spirituality, something of the past. Ketu deals with the past. Leo also deals with lineage. So this could be a really good time for people that are interested in ancient knowledge or philosophy or beliefs, and they wanted to share and educate others, because the 2nd house is also education as well. So there's that aspect there. So that's quite a positive one, actually. Normally you think Rahu going through the 8th house, but considering it's in its own sign, he's much more likely to give a positive result. So hold on to your roller skates, you know, Cancerians, you know, going to be a lot of dynamic change for you guys over the next 18 months. All right, so let's move to the next. So we've just done the sign of Cancer. Let's look at Leos. Yeah, so for Leos, this is really interesting. So if we count here, we count backwards. So we go 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. So for Leos, they are getting Rahu in the 7th house. Now the 7th house is anyone that's not us. It is our name, our reputation. It deals with it deals with marriage, but it can also deal with business partners as well. Rahu is always wanting to bring us something new and exotic. So again, this is for Leo ascendants or Leo moon, with the more emphasis being on the ascendant. So this is where new and interesting people could come into your life. So the Leo rising people are going to be dealing with eccentric characters, unusual characters. They do have to watch out for charlatans, yeah, because Rahu does like his lying and his cheating, but he does deal with exoticism. When we lean into the positive of Rahu, is always giving us something new, something delicious, something that we've maybe not tried before. And if we're going at it in a positive way, he can give us something that we would never even imagine for ourselves. So the Leos are going to be getting new people in their life. Their relationships will be changing quite dramatically. New people will be coming in. The partner, if they're in settled relationships or in partnerships, they may find that their partners actually go through some rapid change, or there's some kind of Rahu-like thing that happens to them, some explosion in technology, or someone new comes in, someone unexpected. You never know. This could be eloping, getting married with someone, married with someone who is exotic or foreign in some kind of way. But also as well, this is more likely to manifest as well as business ventures, new opportunities for work, particularly working with technology or incorporating things like AI into your business practices if you are an entrepreneur. So, of course, if Rahu is in the 7th, that means Ketu is in the 1st. So Leos are getting Ketu in the 1st house, which means over the next, 18 months or so, this is going to be a time of deep reflection and reevaluation. You may not be feeling quite your usual self. Yeah, you may not feel that you quite have your usual energy or your usual spring in your step, but you're more likely to be much more reflective. Yeah, going within. You may not be as extrovert as you normally would be. Not all Leos are extroverts, but especially with this transit here, the Leonine people are just going to be, it's just going to be a bit more muted, a bit more dialed back. It's going to be much more spiritual. So that's going to be interesting, particularly if there are planets there. When Ketu moves over planets, it's not just losses. Sometimes it can be losses, but it can be spirituality or a deepening. Yeah, a deepening of those things. So the Leos, we're looking like there will be changes in relationships, but also changes within. And those changes within obviously can affect our relationships. So there might be quite a few of you that might be even deciding to leave relationships because you've changed so much on the inside. Yeah. So this energy is building, but towards the end of the week, we'll be there. All right, let's move to the next one. So we've just done a Leo. So if we keep going back, we're going to go to Virgo. Yeah. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. So for the Virgo risings or moon, Rahu is going to be in the 6th house. Now this is a tricky energy. It is a tricky energy because the 6th house deals with health and healing and overcoming obstacles. But Rahu brings opportunities and things that are new. So this is actually a good time if you're Virgos to really potentially change up your health, your routines, your fitness routines, your health regimes. You might be getting a new pet, particularly a new cat, yeah, or kitten. Why do I say that? Ketu is dogs, Rahu is cats. The 6th house deals with the digestion. So there might be changes in your digestion or you change your diet because Rahu loves to eat. But the 6th house also deals with pets. So, of course, if Rahu deals with cats and it's going through the house of pets, then some of you may be getting new cats. Yeah. Or maybe an old cat passes and you get a new kitten, or it could be that a stray walks in off the street and adopts you, all of that kind of thing. So watch out for that. So this could be new pets there. It's going to be important to look after your digestion at this stage. The 6th house does deal with the stomach. Rahu is gobble gobble after all, and he loves to eat food. So, but this could, if the positive manifestation of this, Rahu likes junk food as well, but the positive manifestation of this is eating kind of wholesome foods. Yeah, try to consciously eat more wholesome foods because Rahu loves his junk. And if you eat too much junk, that's going to affect your digestion, could be weight gain, etc., stuff like that. But this is also an opportunity as well to change up your routines. It's also an Arthur house, which means it's a money earning house, the 6th house. And so there might be changes in your routines, new opportunities to actually earn money, particularly things associated with health and healing. Of course, if Rahu is in the 6th, then Ketu is going to be opposite in the 12th. Now, Ketu likes being in the 12th house. The 12th house I refer to as the land of far, far away. And Ketu loves spirituality, moksha, liberation from this world. So when he's going through the 12th house, that's actually really quite conducive. Let me make sure I've got that right. Yeah. He'll be going through, Virgo. He'll be going through the 12th. So this is a chance for Virgos to really deepen their spirituality. A lot of Virgos are really quite spiritual anyways, but this is a chance to deepen that yet further. Really, particularly as well, looking at things like energy healing, ancient ways of healing. I was saying healing, aren't I? But I mean, but also 12th house can also deal with prisons and hospitals. So you're not good. I hope not. Of course not. But I was thinking of the Rahu in the 6th house from the healing perspective. 12th house can be healing as well, because yes, it does deal with hospitals. But I think this is going to be more about internal healing. This is going to be more about meditating deeply and kind of looking for ways to maybe leave the body and go on more kind of spiritual adventures. Let's put it this way. This can also be an excellent time to go on pilgrimage or travel. Yeah, so for the Virgo risings, Virgo moon, this could be a big time for travel for you, particularly to faraway lands and islands. All right, let's move on to the next one. So if we look here, now we're going to be looking at Libra. Yeah, so if we count backwards from Libra, so 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So for the Libra risings or moon people, that means Rahu. Yeah, Rahu's going to be in the 5th. Let me just double check myself. 1, 2, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Yeah. So Rahu's going to be in the 5th house. This deals with giving consultation and advice to others. Yeah, let me just double check it. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Yeah. So giving consultation and advice to others. This could mean expanding opportunities for your children if you have them. Yeah. If you remember when we're looking at the 6th house being in the 5th, there might be changes in the life of the children, but for Libra, it could be expanded opportunities for the children. If you're of childbearing age and partnered up, this could be when you might actually even be having children, potentially for the first time. Or there's an unexpected pregnancy. Yeah, Rahu gives us something new, something unexpected. This could also be a time where if you're thinking of going into business, doing consultations one-on-one, for example, this could be the time when you actually do it, or someone asks you. This could be a really good time to actually focus on some of your hobbies if you've not been able to do so in the past, exploring new hobbies, new entertainments. The 5th house deals very much with entertainment. If you're Libra rising or moon, again talking sidereally in Vedic, this could be a time where your love life also gets spiced up, because the 5th house deals with romance, taking chances. So you might have an interesting person that comes into your life. I would say just check under the bonnet to make sure they're kosher, because Rahu does deal with lies and cheats. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that a new person coming into your life is necessarily those things. But it's worthwhile just checking under the bonnet to make sure that's all good. And it can certainly be very exciting, Rahu going through the 5th house. There could be lots of opportunities. If Rahu is going through the 5th, that means Ketu is going through the 11th. Yep, for the Libra rising. And the 11th does deal with what? Friends. Yeah, friends, influence. Community, but K2 can be that restrictive kind of energy. Yeah, shrinks things down. So you might see changes in your friendship circles. There may be some friends that just kind of drop off the radar. Yeah, they just drop off the radar. You're used to seeing them and you don't see them that much anymore. But also as well, this could mean, in terms of the spirituality of Ketu, this could mean actually rubbing shoulders with people that are a bit more spiritual. If you feel like your relationships with your friends have become maybe a bit superficial, or they lack depth because you've grown more spiritually, this could be a really good time to actually reach out and find more spiritual friends, or friends that are more aligned with your values. Yeah, more aligned with your values, that you can have a deeper connection with. So you might be seeing that your superficial friends might be spending less time with them, but you may find that some of your relationships with your friends really deepens. It really becomes much more kind of like profound and more authentic. Yeah, so watch out for that. Look out for that if you are Libra rising or moon. All right, let's move on to the next. So the next we're going to be looking at Scorpio. Yeah, so counting backwards from Scorpio. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So for Scorpio rising, Rahu is in the fourth house. Fourth house deals with real estate. Fourth house also deals with the mother. So there could be changes there. There could be changes in real estate, maybe moving home or kind of like spending some time abroad and renting a hotel space, something like that. Changes in real estate. Fourth house also deals with education. It deals with the heart chakra. So for many Scorpios, they may be having a major change of heart, quite literally over the next 18 months. They may have felt very strongly about a certain thing or a certain person or a certain perspective, and they now find with this transit, it's probably already starting already, these energies, they feel differently. It's just like, you know what, I just don't feel the same. I thought I knew this thing about this person or this situation, and now it's all different. Yeah, now it's all different. But the positive of this as well could be, you know, buying a new house or getting a new apartment or moving house, but it could be unexpected. It may not be an expected move. This also deals with our sense of security, the fourth house, the heart chakra. So there could be disturbances in the sense of security. You know, Scorpios might be feeling a little bit on edge, a little bit wobbly. But again, this could be an opportunity for change. Rahu likes to bring change. Maybe you redecorate. You might just decide, you might have an overwhelming urge to kind of redecorate your property or properties if you're lucky enough to have more than one. It could be things like that. Of course, if Rahu is in the fourth, that means Ketu will be falling into the 10th. So this is going to be an unusual time for Scorpios. Ketu is an eccentric energy. So is Rahu, but it's introverted eccentric. The 10th house deals with name and fame and career, but Ketu is a very shy planet. Yeah, it's very shy. But also as well deals with research. So this could be a time when you could have something unusual happens in the career, or you start a new or more unusual career, or the career takes on more of a vibe of research, scrutiny, going deep into things, which of course is a Ketu's modus operandi. Could be things like that. Feeling very differently about the career, maybe even wanting to change the career because there's this dissatisfaction with it. So I'd say if you're thinking of doing that, don't be rash, because Ketu can make us feel a little bit numb about things. Dial in truly with yourself to see if this is a change that you wish to make. But especially if it's going down a more spiritual route, that's probably going to work better for you, to be honest. So this is going to be time for Scorpios to checking in with their heart chakra and also looking at their careers and going, you know what, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Could be that there. All right, let's move on to the next one, which of course is Sagittarius. So we just count backwards from Sagittarius. So, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. What am I doing? Silly me. Forgive me. If you are Sagittarius moon or rising, Rahu, that's why I confused myself. Rahu is going to be in the third. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. No. I'm confusing myself. Oh, yeah. Be in the third house. And then, yes, K2 in the ninth. Yeah. So, yeah, kind of counting backwards. You see, we can just count backwards here. Am I getting that right? Oh, my God, I'm confusing myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No. It's the third. Forgive me, just had a little bit. I'm quite tired. It's a long day. So the third house, again, we're having a repeat of the 3-9 axis. Yeah, but this time it's actually inverted, because the Geminis would be having Rahu in the ninth, Ketu in the third, but Sagittarius are having Rahu in the third, Ketu in the ninth. So if we think about that, what does that mean? So again, is that emphasis on travel, teaching, and preaching, but there's a bit more of an emphasis this time on the speech and communications aspect, because the third house also deals with speech, particularly things to do with the hands. It also deals with artisans and artists and stuff like that. So, and entrepreneurship. So it could be the case that the Sagittarians are kind of looking maybe more to kind of do things along entrepreneurship. Maybe they're getting a side hustle going. This will be a good potential time for a side hustle, particularly one that involves things online or technology, which of course is what Aquarius is associated with. Many of you may be using AI assistants as well to kind of help you with that. These things are incredibly popular, of course. Writing as well. Third house also deals with writing. So we could be seeing the Sagittarians that are going to be doing more things to do with writing, publishing, writing books, getting them out there, or maybe finding agents, you know, that kind of thing. It also deals with travel as well, but it tends to be more shorter distance commutes. But Rahu wants to give the variety. So you may just find that you're just traveling a bit more in general, driving a bit more, commuting a bit more. But Rahu here is going to bring lots of opportunities, particularly if you're prepared to use your hands and use your skills. Yeah, Rahu will reward that. So, of course, if Rahu is in the third, then Ketu is going to be in the ninth. The ninth house is a very spiritual house. Ketu is a very spiritual planet. This could be actually quite auspicious. So this is going to be the balancing act. Particularly Sagittarians are quite spiritual anyway. This could be the time when you really can seem to kind of launch a spiritual business or write a spiritual book. Ketu's in the ninth. And so there the energies are quite supportive. So this could be a time when, again, you might travel abroad. Yeah, the Sagittarians who love travel anyway, they could find really they're traveling abroad, but it may be for a longer time, for a longer distance, or maybe some of you may actually even really consider living abroad full time. There could be that, because, you know, K2 is adding that intensity there to the to things, and he also deals with research as well. So many of the Sagittarius rising or moon could be actually seriously researching places to live abroad. There could be that factor there as well, and of course the connotations of publishing and languages in general. So I hope that's useful there for these Sagittarians. Now if we go to Capricorn, yeah, Capricorn, that means the Capricorns are getting Rahu in the second house. Yeah, Rahu in the second house. Let me just go here. This is actually a pretty good placement for Rahu. Second house deals with money and finances, and Rahu loves those things. So you could see changes in your money, finances, new opportunities, particularly connected with technology. Some of you who may have invested in crypto may see some returns, but in general, crypto is actually looking a little bit sketchy at the moment because of the recent tariff hikes and stuff. It's very volatile. But this deals with asset classes of all kinds. It also deals with family as well. So there could be someone in the family who has a new kid, for example, or someone gets married and there's an addition to the family. This could also be a time to explore new and exotic foods that you may not have tried before. Rahu loves to eat. The second house deals with the face, neck, and teeth, which is also food. So some of you may be trying some new foods or trying new recipes, or maybe you have to eat food that you wouldn't normally eat before. Yeah, because of various different things, or maybe there's budget constraints or something like that. We'll have to see what the knock-on effects are with, you know, with what's going on in the world right now. But many of you might be even changing your eating habits, or you may get some dental work done. This is more likely to be cosmetic. When Saturn goes through the second house, that can mean literally a lot of dental work, braces being fitted, etc., or extractions, maybe something going a bit wrong. Rahu loves to eat, loves a bit of razzle dazzle. So maybe people getting their teeth whitened, or they're polished, or they just get this curiosity. They want to try new foods, or they could be seeing even their money, you know, expand a little bit. If Ketu is, if Rahu, sorry, is in the second, then of course Ketu will be in the eighth. So having Ketu go through the eighth house is very spiritualizing, but it does increase the likelihood of potential losses. So they could, I hope, not losses of people, but there could be, I hope that's not the case, but it is a possibility. But this could also talk about changes in finance and stuff like that. So for those that are Sagittarius rising, this may not be necessarily the best time to invest. Let me just check here. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So it may not be. Am I reading that right? You know, I keep confusing myself. Capricorn, it will be. But you know what? My brain has just, forgive me, my brain has just gone, I think I'm a little bit tired. I think I was talking about, was I talking about Sagittarius? I'm going to have to look back. Anyway, let's just move on from that one. If you got Ketu in the ninth, that's all about travel. But if it was Capricorn that I was talking about, then he's in the second. So I'm just going to assume, I think I was just looking at Sagittarius. Oh, crikey, I can't remember. You're gonna have to help me out here, guys. If I'm repeating Capricorn again, then apologies. I think I was saying that Rahu was doing well in the second house. I must have been talking about Capricorn. Let's go to Pisces. I'll double check the video, and if I've got that wrong, apologies, and I'll just add on Capricorn. So if we're looking at Aquarius now, Aquarius, so Aquarius goes after Capricorn, or at least doing it in this particular order. That means you've got Rahu in the first house. You can have Rahu in the first house. This talks about dramatic changes in the identity, in the persona. You may want to look different. You may be acting differently. Even if you feel like you're acting the same, people may be treating you differently. They feel there's something has changed about you, or you've got a thirst for change. You want to explore something exotic or dynamic, something like that. So this is very much talking about kind of exploring your inner potential. Yeah, if you're Aquarius rising or Aquarius moon. I'm still not sure if I did the Capricorn, but anyway, never mind, I have to double check. So changes for you. Yeah, changes for you. Feeling differently about things, wanting to go in a different direction. But of course, if Rahu is in the first house, that means Ketu will be in the seventh. So of course, that can talk about changes in your relationships as well. Yeah, just like when it was flipped the other way around for Leos. So this time, though, with Ketu in the seventh, there could be changes for you. So this could be, you might be seeing business partners change. This could be when maybe potentially relationships might effectively change, or maybe even potentially end. Yeah, you might move away from a business partner because you want to go into a different area of business, or some aspect of business ends and then you need to kind of move in a new direction. It could be things like that. Ketu does deal with scrutiny as well, but also spirituality. Seventh house is also a house of travel, so that could also stimulate quite a lot of travel for people, pilgrimage, that kind of thing. But certainly this will lead to, and if you want a stable, settled relationship, then you may find that your partner has to change up their career, or their income changes, or something, or maybe they are dealing with a loss in their life and they need a bit more support. So, you know, this one is, it might be quite a challenging one for the Aquarians actually, because, you know, Rahu in the first can unsettle things quite a lot, but remember to embrace change. And if you do that, then you're more likely to get a positive result. Now we're finally at Pisces. I really hope I didn't skip Capricorn, but anyway, it's almost at an hour now. So for Pisces people, they are getting Rahu and Ketu in the 12th. Yeah, Rahu and Ketu in the 12th. Literally, Pisces saying we count back that way. So Rahu will be in the 12th, Ketu will be in the 6th. So for Pisces people, this is definitely an opportunity to travel to foreign lands. Yeah, the 12th house is the land of far, far away. Rahu loves exoticism. So this could really be meeting new people from, you know, from foreign lands, foreigners in general, trying new food, wanting to travel abroad, or maybe if you're not traveling abroad, you might be traveling a long distance within your own country. You certainly could be potentially getting itchy feet. You could also be taking up an interest in meditation, ashrams, that kind of thing. And you might start getting some very interesting dreams. Rahu going through the 12th house, which also deals with sleep and dreams, could give you very exotic, very unusual dreams, maybe even something kind of prophetic, because Aquarius also can deal with sudden flashes of insight, and Rahu rules Aquarius in old money. So him going through his own sign, which would also be the house of sleep, you know, you can see how for Pisces people this could really be something quite dynamic. Of course, if Rahu is in the 12th, then Ketu is in the 6th. So this could mean scrutiny and changes in one's work. 6th house also as well deals with digestion. This could be one of the transits that is more likely to cause issues with digestion than perhaps another placement. In terms of pets, this time you could be getting a dog. Yeah, Rahu is cats, but Ketu is dogs. 6th house is pets, so maybe you'll be getting a new dog, yeah, or a new puppy, yeah. Especially for these Pisces, Ascendant Pisces moon people, yeah, could be getting a new dog, or maybe an old dog leaves, yeah, an old dog leaves, and then potentially a new one comes in. This could also as well be paying more attention to your diet, yeah, what you eat, managing your stress levels and stuff like that. But this overall is quite a spiritual placement for Pisces, who tend to be quite spiritual people anyway. But this is definitely around that theme of travel and food and diet and trying to minimize stress. Yeah, so I will leave it there because that's just gone for an hour. I hope I got it right on the Capricorn, but I won't know until I double check back. It's been a long day, a little bit tired there, so apologies for some of my little bit of confusion there about where I was. I should have actually moved the house dial as well, which is something that I normally do, and that would have told me which house. But anyway, so I hope you found that interesting. Big changes coming for the world, and let me know in the comments if that is resonating with you, if those energies have begun to happen already. And of course, you will catch me soon when I release my next video. I might do something on Hogarth's financial astrology, actually, particularly in light of Taurus. So that might be tomorrow or the day after. So I hope you guys are having, a good day, shall we say. Thanks so much for joining me. And I hope you found that interesting. Yeah, these potential changes. Let me know in the comments what you're feeling. All right. Bye-bye for now. Cheers.